Hey, welcome back to the show. Over the last few years and in the wake of social justice reform, there's been some progress made when it comes to diversity in leadership ranks, especially in the role of CEO. According to Census Bureau information through 2019, 31.5% of all CEOs are women. And when it comes to race, more work needs to be done as 81% of CEOs are white. And here to share more about why diversity matters in our leadership is Lindsey Jackson, a CEO herself at the diversity, equity, and inclusion firm LTHJ Global. Thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you, my friend.
Yes, it's not work when you're with your good friend, right?
So true. So true. And first time you're ever in studio.
Ever in studio.
I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm glad to talk about this really important issue because, you know, in terms of leaders and the CEOs, the people in the room where it happens, what's changed in the past 2 decades as far as what's expected of them? Is there more accountability?
Yes, absolutely. I think what we're seeing more and more with our clients and within this changing landscape, especially post-COVID, is that we want leaders with feelings. We want leaders that view us as whole people who have a family, sometimes running across the back of the Zoom camera, who understand that we are trying to navigate a global pandemic while also trying to work, and that work is just one aspect of our whole being.
So someone with a soul.
Preferably. Yes.
I mean, and you know what, I have to just ask really quickly because we hear this term CEO, but not always understand what that means and what it, can you give us like a quick definition of what it encompasses, because that kind of shows why it's so important.
Absolutely. One, the term Chief Executive Officer is normally, especially in a C Corp, the individual who is going to administer or oversee the operations, the fiduciary responsibilities of the organization, as well as report to the board. And that, even that language is changing. We're starting to look at this idea of this chief executive, and instead we see companies moving to an executive leader or a head of executive function. And so what used to be the kind of 3 things we expected of a CEO, financial, technical skills, as well as just overseeing operations. Now we want them to do so much more. We want them to be negotiators. We want them to be solvers of not just complicated, but complex problems.
Right. And be creative in that too. And I know we've moved the needle a bit when it comes to diversity, but not enough progress has been made, I know. Where have we made progress, and where do we need to see more progress?
Yes. I mean, you and I have even joked about this, where sometimes we still walk into a room and people ask us to go get the coffee, right? Or I still have people say, so weren't you a professional dancer? How do you become a CEO of a, national global corporation? And I now say to them, I know how to pivot very well. That's how I become a CEO at this young age, But we are still needing to see more people that look like us in leadership roles, because what we see becomes our reality, becomes possibility. And that's why, you and I joke about why it's so important to see you here on this show every day, why it's so important, as much as I hate social media, to just put those images out for that young person who goes, I can be that.
I can be her.
Yes.
I love that. You aren't kidding. I mean, you're a CEO now, which is so cool. But like you said, people ask you to get the coffee. I mean, there were times when you had a title but were still doubted. How do you fight against that when you are trying to make your stand as someone in leadership? Or as a, maybe you're not a CEO, but you're still trying to be a leader, and maybe you aren't getting taken seriously. How do you do that?
Absolutely. There's somebody out there listening today who needs to hear that if you're in the room, you deserve to be there. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to deal with this imposter syndrome with your, shaking nerves under the table. If you are in the room, you earned your place in that room. And so fill that seat, fill that cup, whatever it is, with a hit of confidence, and know that your place there was ordained.
I love that. We only have about a minute left, and I have to ask you about the other side of that. So maybe you're not the one in the leadership role. Maybe you are a soldier at this place. What is our role in everything, and maybe the leader's role, the employee's role in working towards diversity in leadership?
Yeah, I think for the person who thinks, well, I don't have much influence in the organization, I am just an entry-level individual, you do, because you're the next leader in that organization, 5, 10, 20 years. And so every opportunity you have to give feedback, if they're doing an organizational survey, give feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you leave that job, that is your feedback, in that I do not see a future for myself in my black or brown, in my queer-bodied skin, in my disabled skin. I don't see myself in leadership here, and that's the reason I'm going to go somewhere where they have made that an important part of their growth strategy.
I love that. I am so grateful to talk with you, and I'm so grateful to find out more. Where can people find out more about what you're doing on a daily basis?
Yeah, definitely check us out, anything Lindsey Jackson. But at LTHJ Global, we're super excited. We are about to launch one of the first DEI information systems called Sojourn. And just really encourage everybody to check it out.
Can't wait to talk to you more about it, my friend. Thank you so much for being here.